Well, we talked to Sandy Grosvenor the other day, the PRO, and she is blessed to have an outstanding group of volunteers on her race committee, and one of them is Dina Coalition. And Dina has an interesting role. She's in charge of the safety boats. And I'm going to pan over here to the left and show you a couple of them. There they are, sitting down there at the dock, and they'll be going out here as soon as the racers do. But first and foremost, Dina, why don't you tell us a little bit about A, how many safety boats do we have, and B, what do they do? What is the job of the safety boats?
Okay, for this regatta where we were expecting around 90 boats, we have 5 boats on the water that are dedicated only for the safety of the sailors. And what that means is if a sailor has a breakdown, if a sailor is injured on the water, or if they capsize and have difficulty righting their boat, we stand by to assist.
Yes.
The racing rules don't allow us to assist without being invited by the sailor, because any outside assistance then disqualifies them from the race.
I was just going to ask that.
Yeah.
You don't just move right in and help a capsized boat. That's
No.
kind of their job, right?
Correct. So these boats are very easy to self-right. The crews are very experienced. This is World Championship. So we expect them to rewrite and continue to race until such time as they ask for help, and they do that by waving and shouting.
Right.
But if there's a boat that's capsized, we'll move in after a couple of minutes and just be close by. Like I said, most of these guys are really experienced, but you just never know when somebody's going to get clipped by the boom or something, or separate a shoulder,
Right.
break a finger.
Right.
Have a bloody nose, or the worst case, of course, is that they get entrapped with the lines and
Yes.
tangled up. These are trapeze boats. The crews are wearing trapeze harnesses with hooks on them, and in the rare occasion that should hook on the rigging or lines, the skipper, the other part of the crew, might need help much more quickly.
Right.
So we move in to be close by, but wait to be signaled for help.
Right. So I'm guessing that means that there's more than one person on each safety boat. There's probably a driver and then someone who's there to assist, because you need some free hands, right?
Exactly. There's at least 2, and sometimes with our larger hard-sided boats, we'll have 3 people aboard.
Right.
To help, so that we have someone at the helm all the time, and then two sets of hands to help if it's a bigger boat. Most of these will have 2 people aboard, and I hand-selected a lot of these people.
I was just going to say, you probably got some people who you know are experienced, and I wanted to mention that Dina is a dinghy sailor herself, has been a member of SSA since how long? Tell me how long?
Since 1981.
Wow.
I moved to town in 1980. I bought a boat over the winter between 80 and 81 and joined the club.
Right, and Dina sailed Snipes, she sailed J22, she's currently a J70 sailor, so like Dina, she probably selected folks who understand the dinghy game, correct?
Absolutely. There's a lot of friends of mine in the safety crew, guys like Brian Fishback today, Billy Lawson, Luke Singledecker, who's a past Commodore of the club and an active laser sailor. I have Gary Bodie up here from
Oh,
Norfolk.
wow, the legendary Gary Bodie
That's
is helping.
right.
That's a good person to
That's
have
right.
out there helping
He's
out.
been here all week
Wow.
to help out. So we have some really, really good people out on the course. Jim Urban, another past Commodore and longtime sailor here at the club.
So how do you deploy the safety boats? I mean, it's a big course, and I'm wondering, do you just all 5 safety boats chase the fleet around, or do you try to disperse them around so that you can, because the fleet does, mix up and they spread. So how do you kind of deploy the safety boats to make sure that the course is covered?
Right, we have a method to our madness. On the first beat, we have 2 lead boats that go with the front of the fleet up each side, and then we have 2 more that start up after about half the fleet, and then we've got the trailer. We've got our range boat that's coming up the back. That's a small
It gets
rib.
to seize everyone.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure your walkie-talkies to communicate, obviously.
Yes, we're using radios all the time. We have our own dedicated channel. It's channel 66 for this event, and it's only the safety boats on that channel.
So you guys can coordinate your activities.
Right. The other thing we do is one of our safety boats stays at the windward mark. The fleets get spread pretty far. This fleet in particular, I think there was 35 minutes between the first place boat and the last place boat. So,
Wow, that is a bit of a spread. Yes.
yeah, especially in the lighter air.
Yeah.
So we actually, once we get up to the top mark the first time, we've actually left a safety boat positioned to take mark roundings, make sure we account for all 87 boats that we have
right.
started.
Make sure nobody's missing.
Right, that
Very
they've
good.
rounded before and then he'll head down after he gets the last rounder and meet up with the front of the fleet again and go back upwind and start taking roundings again.
Gotcha.
So we have strategically got some people around the race course.
Very good. I think you may get your money's worth today. This is a day that is designed exactly for why you all are out there. Could be 17 to 20 knots. It's blowing here already and may build. So kind of today, are you really kind of amped up and knowing that you may be needed? This is when you're the whole point of you being out there is going to come into play.
I think so, and we have a really strong team out on the water. We met at 8 o'clock this morning, just discussed the weather forecast and what we expect to go on. And I'm very comfortable that, number one, it's a world championship fleet. There's no beginners here.
That's right.
And I think that that we're covered, and I'm just hoping that we don't have any accidents, because an accident can happen at any time.
Right.
But we have first aid kits aboard, tow lines. We have everything we need, and we're 4 days into the championship. We're pretty prepared. So.
Thank you, Dina, and thank you for doing the safety officer coordination. It's a very important role.
Thanks, Bill.